All right, let's just jump right in. If you've ever had that split second of panic trying to figure out exactly how to address someone in Korean, well, this one's for you. We're going to build a really simple, practical system so you can navigate Korean honorifics with a whole lot more confidence.
And this quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? That little bit of hesitation, the mental gymnastics you do trying not to offend someone before you've even said hello. We've all been there. And it's that exact moment of anxiety that we're going to solve today.
So, let's be super clear about one thing. We are not here for some dense academic lecture. Think of this as your field manual. It's a practical, actionable guide based on what really works in offices, clinics, and just everyday chats in Korea. No fluff, just a system that you can actually use.
To start, let's kind of reframe the problem. You see, Korean honorifics aren't just a grammar puzzle you have to solve. A much better way to think about them is as a relationship map in motion. They literally describe the social distance, the respect, and the context between people, and that map can and does change.
This is where we get to the heart of it. We're going to give you a single, simple system that you can use as your golden rule. This is the mental model you can apply in almost any situation to get it right, or at least be perfectly safe.
So here it is, the big question we're tackling. You're in a new situation, you just met someone, and your mind is drawing a total blank. What is the single, safest, most reliable move you can possibly make? Let's answer that right now.
And here you go. The 10-second rule. This is your entire decision tree right here. Step 1, do you know their role? Professor, team lead, doctor? Great. Use that role plus the honorific nim. It's clean, it's respectful. Step 2, is the role kind of fuzzy or totally unknown? Just default to their full name plus nim. That is your safest bet. And finally, step 3, and this is a big one, only soften your address when you are explicitly invited to. Seriously, it's that simple.
Okay, so we've got our golden rule in place. Now let's put it to the test with 3 specific, really common titles that tend to trip people up. We're going to decode them one by one. First up, senbannim. Now, this isn't just senior. It's all about seniority within a shared context, a university, a company, a training program. And that context is everything. You see, in a university, it feels totally natural. But use it in a global startup with a flat hierarchy, it can sound kind of weirdly formal, maybe even a little performative.
Next, let's talk about sajangnim. Literally, it means company president, but you'll hear it all the time in shops and restaurants as a polite way to address the owner. But here's the risk. If your tone is even a little bit off, it can come across as sarcastic. And this teaches us something huge. Your polite tone often matters more than the title itself. When in doubt, remember that precision always beats flattery.
Okay, this slide shows a really common trap. You might think teacher and professor are kind of the same, but nope, they are not. Gyosunim is specifically for university professors. 선생님, on the other hand, is much broader. It works for teachers, sure, but it's also the correct and respectful way to address, say, a doctor in a clinic. Defaulting to the broader term, 선생님, is almost always your safest bet.
Now, let's look at the flip side of this coin. We've talked about what to do, so now let's focus on what not to do. These are the common pitfalls that can create social friction and honestly, just break rapport really fast.
This quote from the source material is so powerful because it perfectly captures the stakes here. Being a little too formal, it's a minor, maybe 3-second awkward moment, and then it's over. But dropping the formality too early, that can be seen as really disrespectful, and it can take months to rebuild that trust you just lost. It's a risk that is just not worth taking.
So let's run through some of these common traps. You know, a couple of the biggest ones are mixing casual speech, or banmal, with formal titles. It's like wearing a tuxedo with flip-flops. It just doesn't work. Another huge one is copying the super dramatic language you hear in K-dramas. Trust me, what works for TV almost never works in a real-life office. And please, avoid directly translating titles like Mr. or Miss, because they just don't map cleanly onto Korean honorifics.
This little chart gives us a clear guide for course correction. For example, check out that second mistake, dropping nim after just one friendly chat. Being friendly is fantastic, but it is not an invitation to be less formal. The better replacement couldn't be simpler. Just wait until they explicitly invite you.
All right, we've covered the rules, the nuances, the pitfalls. Now it's time for the final and maybe most important part, turning all this knowledge into action. Let's actually build your personal playbook so you're ready for your very next interaction.
This is your action plan. I'm serious. Take 15 minutes and actually do this. List the situations you find yourself in most often. Then, for each one, write down your go-to, default title. After that, add a safe fallback for when you're unsure. And finally, have a simple recovery line ready. Something like, "My apologies, I think I used the wrong title." This little bit of prep work will save you weeks of guesswork.
So if you remember only one single thing from this whole explainer, let it be this core system. Role plus nim when you know it, name plus nim when you don't. That simple rule will guide you correctly through like 90% of situations. That's your foundation.
And that brings us to our final thought. Look, the goal here isn't to have perfect fluency overnight. It's about showing consistent respect. When you're thoughtful about how you address people, you're not just using a language correctly, you are actively building trust. And that is a skill that goes way beyond words. So are you ready to start building that trust?